Okay, so we were talking about that you had your first meltdown after you overspent and bought too many Ferraris.
Right.
All right. Then you stopped. Then you started rebuilding your wealth again.
Right.
And you didn't spend money on Ferraris and boats, but you started taking too much time off work and investing in too many experiences with a wife and a kid and all this stuff.
Sure.
And then you lost it again. Then in 2008, you got into getting into the fashion industry.
Sure.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the first, say, 3 years of building a new business in a new industry that you didn't have a lot of experience with. Sure. What was some of that experience like?
Well, first of all, I thought with my master plan, we would be in all the department stores and we'd be a multi-million-dollar brand overnight. And I spent that way for the first 6 months with my own money.
How much do you think you put in of your own money in the first 6 months?
Probably close to $500,000.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I really thought that it would leverage and it would make things go faster.
So you mean you can't start a fashion brand with zero money like these things teach you on the internet?
Probably not.
All right, we're going to come back to that.
How about
let's just say
that more? No.
Okay, we're going to talk about that more. Yeah. But okay, so you put a bunch of money in the first 6 months, and then what happens?
You know what? My original partnership with the designer fell apart within the first 9 months. So then I was on my own. I didn't have a lot of extra money to put into the business and also live, so I had to start looking for ways to finance the business and make it grow. Mm-hmm. One of the first things I did was talk to my closest friends. I was able to get a little bit of money from a few people, very little, helped a little, and then I leveraged the suppliers, manufacturers.
So let's talk about that, because people are going to say, well, how did you do it?
Yeah, you got to just go ask for it.
But did you just call them on the phone?
So many business plans written up, I had no idea.
So you did go do a business plan.
When I look at the 1 year into the business and my forecast,
oh yes.
It's one of those things you just got to go in and ask for it. And I truly believed every time.
But how did you do it? Did you call them on the phone and say, let's meet for coffee? Did you meet in a conference room? How did you pitch them?
Dinners, informal. I would have borrowed money from someone's dog if they would have loaned it to me.
Right, I bet.
I just said, this is what I'm doing, this is where I'm going, would you be interested?
And how many people do you think you met with that first time?
50.
50 people?
Yeah.
This was 2011?
Informal, for between 2009 and 11, because remember, I was looking for money after the first year.
Oh, that's true, okay.
Yeah.
So for 2 years, you were talking to pretty much anybody who had $1 and saying, do you want to loan me some money?
Referrals, yep.
And during that time, were you able to convince any? Like how many people?
Yeah, a few people loaned me a few money, some short-term loans I paid back, other longer-term loans that I still have. Mm-hmm. I ended up actually finding some creative financing through what's called credit card advances. Back then it was pretty new, so I could get money against future charges.
Okay, so let's talk about that. In a business, you've got receivables because you're making products, you're selling it to your customers.
Right.
Explain credit card financing, because this is a legit,
viable
option for people that have bad credit, which you probably had.
Right. Yeah, or none.
Or none.
Right.
Right. No other access to bank loans, home equity lines of credit, but you need capital for your business. So credit card financing is a legitimate way to finance your business for cash flow.
Right.
How did that work for you?
Well, it's very expensive when you look at the interest rate and cost, but it got me through another tough period. Remember, I had already sold all my assets. Then I stopped making payments on credit cards and on my home.
Right.
And then I eventually had to do workouts for all of those, and I lost my home in a short sale, so that also provided financing up till about 2011.
Yep.
Okay? So here I was. I still need money.
Okay, so let's talk about it. You're basically in the process of losing all your money while you're starting a new business.
Right. Yeah. It was extremely challenging.
How do you work through that emotionally? Like, how do you do that?
I can tell you what you don't.
How do you not get unmotivated? How do you not lose your motivation during a time like that?
I think you really got to know what you like. I've been here before. I've made money. I can do this. You got to believe in yourself, number one. And how do you not lose your motivation? Is you get out of bed. You just get out of bed. That's the start of every day.
Right.
And you work late, and you put everything you can into it. And you have little wins. You focus on little wins.
But what about this? What about those people that say, but how do you have balance in your life?
Right.
What do you think at that time about balance?
Balance, I mean, if you're racing at 180 miles an hour and you're sleeping, you have balance, don't you? Because
that's true.
In the middle, you're going 90.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's your balance when you're an entrepreneur. You go as hard as you can, as fast as you can, and for as long as you can when the chips are down. And then a real smart entrepreneur, where I'm at now, goes as hard as he can, as fast as he can, when everything is coming your way. Because now is when you can really make it happen.
You're learning how to parlay that success.
Right.
Whereas the first two meltdowns,
two times,
you dropped off.
First 2 times as things got really good, I laid back.
Yeah, you rested.
I laid back.
At the wrong time.
Yep.
Makes sense.
Like
so you stay motivated when a lot of people lose motivation.
Right.
There's the difference between an unsuccessful and a successful entrepreneur.
Yeah.
You get motivated when you're down, not unmotivated.
Right.
That's such a key term that you say that, Tony, because I say that all the time. So now you're using credit card financing.
Sure.
Now let's talk again about what was that about? What was that like? Credit card financing.
Yeah. Well,
Explain what that is first off.
Yeah,
Explain what credit card financing is for our audience that doesn't even know what it is.
Let's assume that over the next 6 months, I expect to charge future orders on credit cards to the amount of $100,000.
Customers paying you.
Right, $100,000 over 6 months.
Right.
There's a lender that might advance $40,000 that you have to pay back plus interest over 6 months. That makes sense?
High interest. What's an example?
Well, when they were brand new,
it's this number right here.
They were about 120% per year.
Ding, ding,
Loan
ding,
shark.
ding.
Loan shark.
Basically like a loan shark.
Now remember though,
But why is
2011.
that okay though? So why is it okay to borrow that kind of money
for
your business?
For me, the growth rate plus margin meant more to me than the cost of the funds. Got it?
And so you were making enough margin to be able to pay that interest and still continue to grow the business.
Exactly. And luckily, I did do that analysis. Otherwise, I would have walked away.
Right. Because a lot of people do that. They don't have the margins, and they end up going bankrupt and losing their whole business because they didn't calculate their margins.
Exactly.
Right?
Yep.
Okay, so you're doing the credit card processing.
Right.
During this time, you're asking everybody, their mother, their dog, the kitchen sink, you're asking everybody for money.
Right.
All right, so this is 2011, and this is where I want to get to the story of, in 2011, you actually meet a person who ends up becoming your angel investor in your business.
And at the time, I didn't know.
How did you guys even meet?
There's a mutual friend, actually, the person that I was developing real estate with, that when I was looking for money, he denied me. Love that.
This is one of your best friends.
And one of my best friends
Tells
said,
you no.
Tony, and by the way, that's how you keep friends.
Right.
Honesty. I was denied by a lot of friends. Keep going.
They said, we love you.
We love you, but Tony,
we don't believe in you enough to give you
not. But there is someone that has probably a higher risk reward. You need to meet him. That's how I met a lot of people when I was asking, and he introduced me to this gentleman. We met for coffee, spoke for a couple of hours. He was high energy, extremely motivated, had already been successful in his business, was looking to sell it, and he said no. But he said,
nice guy.
But he said, I'll keep an eye on things with you. If you want, come back to me and keep up with me on the business. That was 2011, like spring.
Cool.
And then I kept on going, and
So first off, you're reaching out to people who are friends.
Yeah.
And then your friends, because they love you and they care about you and they want you to succeed, they're introducing you to people.
Right. And remember, the whole time, I am still working in the business, working very hard.
Right.
And I'm having small victories.
Okay.
So the story was always improving, which was great. And my close friends saw that.
Yeah.
And so they would help where they could, whether it be on a referral. Some even did pro bono work that I would pay later. I had a lot of people that really helped me out without writing a check.
Right. Hold on, just like every journey is like all over the place. I even got to get my thoughts because I know how it is as an entrepreneur.
Right. No,
so 2011, you're really out there looking for an angel investor. You get a lot of no's.
Right.
And then, so how do you end up meeting the person that ends up investing in your company? Like, how did you guys get back together?
Very specifically, a couple of years gone by. In those couple of years, I lost my house, and luckily my friends supported me. I was able to couch surf, which doesn't sound as bad as it was because I got 1 or 2 months with different friends at different times. But in the end, I was building a luxury fashion brand in couch surfing.
And that's a way to glamorize it
right
there.
It kept it really simple.
As somebody who's couch surfed before, it's not that glamorous.
They weren't all couches. I got a second bedroom once in a while.
Right.
But I learned a lot there too, especially with some of my friends who also were entrepreneurs. So it was great. I come out of that period and I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's time that I could, rent a place again. And I'm at a party, and I run across the same person, and he just said, "Hey, how's it going?" And of course, everything's going great because it really was better than 11.
Right.
Business was a little bit stronger. I felt better about what I was doing, and I just said, hey, I'm doing really good. And then he went, dun, dun, dun. Where are you living? I said, I've been couch surfing for almost 2 years. And he offered that I can stay at his place for a while. And I just thought it'd be another couch surf. So
Right.
I jumped in and actually stayed at his place for a couple of months in a spare bedroom. And he ended up becoming one of my business mentors.
Okay, so you're couch surfing with this guy for a couple months.
Yeah.
And how does that translate to him becoming an investor? Like,
Well, easy. He just wrote me a check.
Oh, there you go.
And so, I never wanted to overstay my welcome.
right.
And so I left, kept working on the business, couch surfed a few more friends, and then I called him up. I said, hey, I'm ready to be a roommate with someone I can pay some rent. Want me to move in? The bedroom was still available. When I moved in, it gave us time to really get to know each other. So, then it was every night sitting around talking business. He was selling his company, looking at a couple other opportunities. I was trying to build Hammett. We had some, what I think, really good, healthy conversations. A lot of time, him just telling me really what I needed to hear,
Right.
versus my, staff or others, which tell me what I want to hear.
Very true.
And through these tough conversations, I realized I really needed to really focus on the financial side of the business. I really needed to hone in exactly what I wanted.
Because at this time, are you still paying that high interest
Oh yeah,
loan?
killing me. Yeah, I was paying a high interest in a lot of different places,
Okay.
and never was enough money.
So what do you think it was at that moment after you're, now you're a roommate, you guys are developing this relationship
Right.
of trust. What do you think finally put the investor over the top to actually invest in your company?
Well, I think because we were able to structure a deal where he was able to give me twice as much capital as I was already borrowing at a much higher interest rate, and even though it was twice as much cash, it was total payments which were less than I were already paying. It gave him peace of mind that I could make the payments because I was already doing them. It also gave us twice as much cash to further grow the business. So it was a win-win for everybody.
That makes sense. Okay. He invested money in the company. This reduces the amount of interest payments that you're making, or actually it's about the same, but you got double the capital to work with. This was
Sure.
2014.
Yep.
So it's 2017. What kind of impact has it made by having that extra cash? And what's the relationship like? Did they pull out their money, keep their money, give you more?
Right.
What's the relationship been like the last 3 years?
Well, I think with any good relationship, you build on it. So each year, actually, I was able to get a little bit more capital from the same investor because the company was growing. As a matter of fact, we've been growing about 50% every year for the past 5 years. With that additional capital every year, we were able to invest further into our design, into manufacturing, into distribution, into my people, and then here we are in a brand new office space.
Right.
And that main investor is still with us, still our primary investor.
And how much has that investor invested to date now?
Almost $1 million.
Almost $1 million.
Yeah.
That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. And hopefully he's made a pretty nice return, and he's happy.
That's cool. So now we saw your first rise to a meltdown.
Yeah.
Second rise to a meltdown. 2014, you're couch surfing.
Sure.
It's 3 years later.
Yeah.
What's your life like today?
Well, it's funny. A year and a half ago, I moved back into the exact same home that I had lost previously. I'm renting it, but I got to tell you, I feel like I own it.
That's pretty
I
cool.
also did a brand new building, new construction. The whole company is here. We're carried at almost 500 points of distribution through the U.S. We launched a footwear line, and I have to tell you, the company's probably in the best financial shape that it's been since I started it.
That's awesome. And the investor is still with you.
He is.
Dude, that is awesome. So this guy invests money in your company.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what it's like because, somebody invested, money in my company that I was growing, so I know how big of a deal it was. If there was anything that you could say to the person that invests in your company and has given you this next lift in your life and helped you build the company that you want today, what do you say to somebody like that?
I'd say thank you. Thank you for trusting me. Thank you for trusting me when no one else would.
Well, man, one of my mentors always said to me that when you believe in somebody, you write them a check.
Yeah.
And I was happy to write you a check.
Sean, you're the man.
Peace out.